Okay. Looks like I'm going to have to go all the way back here. The scratch goes all the way back.
Yeah, it looks actually, John, as if you're going to have to rub every inch of this panel, because the important thing is that you take the gloss off the paint. It's very difficult to get new paint to adhere to a glossy surface, so you must remove the gloss at least.
Right, let's keep going then.
I'm glad you got the big panel and I got the small one.
Cheers.
Right, John, it looks like we've hit our first piece of bare metal, and there it is. And you can see a little bit of chipping there on the paint. That, believe it or not, is a source of corrosion. There may even be 1 or 2 corrosion cells already in there, and if you left it, that'll just spread outwards.
What do we do to get rid of that then?
You can use something called a rust converter. Very, very easy to use. It chemically converts rust.
Right, that's not something we got when we got all the products out earlier, is it?
No. What we'll do, we'll rub the rust out of it.
Right, we've rubbed this down as much as we can, and it, to be honest, looking a bit drastic here. What's the next stage, Dave?
Well, if we weren't affecting this repair, John, then the rust would be a bit drastic, so don't worry too much about that. We've rubbed the scratch out. What we now need to do is prepare the surface for painting. If there was any dirt or grease on it, obviously we would have rubbed it off, but just as a belt and braces approach, what I'm going to do now is wipe this surface over with thinners.
Lovely.
Thinners are actually a mix of solvents, some of which we actually use in the manufacture of the paint. They are flammable, so treat thinners with the same respect as you would treat petrol.
Surely we can't paint straight away, aren't we going to?
What we're actually going to do is mask off these 2 panels just under the trim bar. For that we need some masking tape and plenty of newspaper.
Great stuff.
Right,
let's get that.
What I'm going to do with this section here is mask it off in a particular way. What we need is for this paint here to blend nicely with the existing paint on the wheel arch. So what I'm going to do is apply a piece of tape like that, and then just curl it back so that it's loose. As you spray the aerosol, this will feather the edge of the spray and give you a softer line. You'll still be able to distinguish that the line is there until you've used, your finishing polishes, things like that. So around the edges, it's easy with a trim bar because you've got a definite line. But if we're just repairing a patch, use this technique to just pull your masking tape back, create that softer edge instead of a harder edge like that.
Right, you can now see that he's got all the trim bars masked up. What's the next bit? Newspaper?
Newspaper, you'll be surprised actually at the extent of what we call dry overspray on a car. We're just going to spray this area, but if we don't cover all of that, all of this, all of that, don't forget the wheel and the tyre, with newspaper, you'll find it'll have a fine red dust on it when you finish spraying. So it's very important to protect the rest of your vehicle.
Yeah, I was thinking it was a bit on the drastic side.
It is, but don't worry about it.
Right, if you're as old as I am, you've heard of the Beatles newspaper taxi. Now we've got a newspaper Citroen. Right, Dave, what we're going to do now?
What we're going to do now, John, is spray the primer onto the sections that we've rubbed down. It looks a bit excessive, but all this amount of masking is actually necessary to protect the rest of your vehicle.
So I'm trusting you at the minute.
Trust me. The most important thing before you start using an aerosol spray paint is that you give the can a good shake. What we need to ensure is that everything that's in this can is thoroughly mixed up. Otherwise, it won't work properly. We actually recommend 2 minutes. It's a long time when you stood there shaking an aerosol can, but believe me, it's necessary. We're now ready to spray. The key is, don't try to get too much paint on all at once. Build it up in light coats.